Hi there guys, today I'm doing an update finally on 2.5 years off of benzos and pregabalin as well. So this will be the last video that I do of hopefully one of the last sort of or definitely it will be like the last video I do about X amount of time, because it's not really worth making a video every few months about, I'm 6 months, I'm 9 months, at this point, it's like I'm off them and that's that. I don't really think about them much anymore. In fact, I don't think about benzos at all, apart from when I do this. So I haven't really made an update video for a long time. I can't remember the last time I did one, but it's been a long time. I forgot to do one at 2 years. I was going to, but I didn't have the motivation at the time. It wasn't because of anything to do with benzos or anything like that. It was just my own issues. And also because not much has changed in terms of dealing with stuff since the last video. A lot of it is the same. I've recovered, in terms of the actual benzos, I think I've recovered pretty much, from the damage that benzos gave me. Pretty much. Yeah. It's hard to kind of pick apart things, and say what caused, was it the benzos that, because I still have some issues, but I'm not sure if they were caused by benzos or not. I don't know. They might not have been. And some of the issues were around before, and some have improved and some have got worse. So yeah. So that's why I feel making a video every few months about it being benzos, I don't think that really helps anyone. I don't think that will really help any of you, and I don't think it will help, I just don't think it will help anyone. Yeah. In terms of as I said, obviously everyone has their reasons for taking benzos in the first place. And for me, those issues came back up again once I quit. And in some ways they were worse for a while, but I'm dealing with them now. It's not an easy fix. So yeah. But in terms of benzo withdrawal, obviously that's pretty much, I think that was over a long time ago. And also I think in some of my prior videos I was blaming things on benzos, and now I look back, I'm not actually sure if it was related to the benzos. It could have been, it could have maybe not been. So as crappy as benzos are, I don't think it's helpful to blame everything that happens to you on benzos. I think that some of the issues, maybe, sometimes they could, maybe benzos make you more aware after you quit of certain things. I don't know. People can say it takes years, so I don't know. But I still feel, I've said in my prior videos, that it's not about the time, and I'm saying this again, it's not about the time you've been off them, it's about what you do when you're off them. It doesn't matter, people are always like, oh, you know, you'll be better in 2 years, or you'll be better in a year, and I think that's kind of defeating. Like, and it's not true. Like, it's not about you'll be better in a year. Well, if you're not actually doing anything to improve, then you might not be better. You might actually be worse off. Like, you have to put some effort into, as difficult as it is, of course, you have to put some effort into recovery. You have to, you know, make the right choices. You know, you won't just recover laying in bed for 2 years. you're just, that's a disaster. You know, so you have to do some of the things that you need to do to recover. It's not as simple as just waiting. And I think a lot of advice you get online and in benzo recovery forums and stuff like that, a lot of people will always say, oh, you know, they'll go away after 6 months, they'll go after a year, they'll go after this amount of time. I think if you just sit around waiting for them and you don't do, you know, I think it can make it kind of worse in a way. It's a difficult balance to achieve. Like, it's not a simple thing to deal with, because of course, you know, I've experienced it, and the chances are, if you're watching this, you probably have as well. So, so in terms of why I got on benzos, I won't make this. I don't want to make this a long video. I have a feeling it's going to be kind of long anyway, but I don't want it to be, so I'm trying to keep it short. I found out after I came off benzos that I had suspected PTSD, and allegedly, according to a few people, I had functional autism or whatever. I'm still not, I don't agree. Well, I don't know. I think the problem with labels like those is that, first of all, you can apply a label like that to anyone. Almost anyone. So, it doesn't help. But also, especially during benzo withdrawal, you could apply a label, you apply so many labels to someone in benzo withdrawal. Like, even a few months later. So I don't think it really helps. So those diagnoses I don't really try to think about too much, even though they are probably true. Or potentially true. Another thing is, like, in my case, after I quit benzos, I did take mirtazapine, which is a sedative antidepressant. And I'm still on a very low dose. Like, I'm not really on any kind of therapeutic dose. I'm on around 3.25 milligrams. Or 3.75 milligrams, I think. Which is like half of the very, very lowest dose. The lowest dose for antidepressant is 15 milligrams. So I'm only on, a very, very small amount. I don't feel anything, but basically I tapered off it, and because I was on 15 milligrams, I tapered off it, and for some reason I'm just apprehensive about cutting it out entirely, because when I try, I can't sleep because it's a sedative. So I've had trouble with that. So I guess I'm not 100% clean off of pharmaceuticals. But I'm 100% off diazepam and all benzos and pregabalin and stuff like that. I was on pregabalin for 2 years. The pregabalin was given to me to get off benzos, and in the end, it didn't work, and instead, I was addicted to both at the same time. Which is pretty messed up. And the doctor that gave it to me, the pregabalin to me as well, the doctor that gave me pregabalin originally told me it wasn't addictive, and I thought that, I didn't believe him. So I think I did ask a second opinion, or I did go back and ask, and I was adamant that I thought it was, and I'm pretty sure it is, and they said it's not. And there's nothing for me to worry about. So they got that wrong. But you know, I don't know, I've been off pregabalin for like, if I'm clean from benzos for 2.5 years, then I'm off of pregabalin for like 3.5 years, probably. Yeah, about 3.5 years. 4 maybe. Probably 4 years. 4.5 maybe. I don't know. It screws your memory, so who knows. Probably over 4 years. And the diazepam and I mostly use diazepam, but I also use clonazepam if I couldn't get diazepam. So I'd use clonazepam. The doses, I've explained all this in my other video, but usually I'd use between for a long time I probably used 10 to 20, 30 maybe milligrams, sometimes 40. It all depends. And then there was probably some times where I used, some months where I used 5 milligrams maybe. Yeah, so between 5 to 40 milligrams. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, like, I don't believe that the amount of time you spend off of it is the main thing. I believe that the main thing is what you do. And in my case, I've sometimes let go of that a bit, and I've kind of fallen into waiting for things to get better. And I think that in my case anyway, it's not all to do with the benzos, and that's why I'm not going to keep on making these sort of, 2 years off, 3 years off sort of videos, like, because it doesn't really help anyone. But at some point I will make a video about the whole journey, which will be like footage from when I was addicted to benzos, footage of where I tried to get off, footage of the things that happened to me when I was coming off them in the withdrawal, crazy things that sort of may have happened or whatever. Like, it's all stored on my computer. I've never been able to publish it. I've never been able to upload it because I feel like I'm not ready. Before, I always felt like maybe I would relapse, maybe I would die or whatever. So I don't know. I know I haven't done it, but eventually, hopefully, I'll be ready to, and that'll explain how I got addicted to them, how long I was on them, and the years, and what happened, and what I tried to do to get off, the times that I failed to get off, which is multiple times. The first time I quit was not the successful one. I failed probably 2, 3, 4 times. At one point I even had a relapse after a year. That was my previous relapse. If it wasn't for that one relapse, I'd be 3.5 years off. But that's why I say it's 2.5. But yeah, so it's not about, I don't feel like it's about the time, I feel like it's about what you do. And in my case, I still do, every 3, 4, 5 times a week, gentle exercise like cycling and walking. I don't do vigorous exercise. I want to, but it kind of can trigger me still. Whether or not that's benzos, again, I don't know. It could be a combination of issues. So yeah, so I cycle and do walking for like 20 to 40 minutes, 4 or 5 times a week. I try to do 30, 40, maybe 50 sometimes minutes, 4 or 5 times a week. Meditation is a big one that helped me a lot, because it trains you how to be calm. You train yourself to be calm, and when you've taken benzos for a long time, you've either forgotten or you've never even known how to be calm. That's why you took benzos in the first place a lot of the time, or it's partly why. So training to be calm is really important. I still don't train nearly enough, but that's what mindfulness meditation is, when you listen to your breath and you sit still and you just listen to the breath, and you just, whenever thought comes up, you just refocus on the breath, and you practice doing that, and your baseline sort of levels of anxiety and other issues sort of improve. Although in my case I found it stressful to do every day, so I've decreased it doing it a little bit. I say stressful, what I mean is it's difficult to do lots of meditation every day, so I decreased it basically. Recently I started doing yoga as well, which I think I wished I did earlier on. Like, I think that's another big thing. If you're coming up, I think yoga's a big thing as well, because it integrates the physical sort of exercise, which is beneficial and helps grow new brain cells and whatnot, or neurogenesis, with the training to be calm. It's both in one. So yoga's also really important, I think. And also it's training you to balance better, which again is something that's impacted, your stability, your physical stability and your balance. I think those are both impacted on benzos and on anything like benzos. For instance, alcohol can kind of mess with people's balance and stuff like that, even if they might not be aware of it. So at one point I was going to go keto to help with my sort of symptoms and recovery and stuff. I never did it because it used to make me, transitioning to keto used to make me kind of worse. I wish that wasn't the case, and maybe I needed to power through it, but I wasn't able to do it. But that's something that maybe you could try, or you could look into if you're experiencing issues with benzo recovery. In theory it could help. Some people say it did help. I've also tried water fasting. Well, I haven't tried nearly enough, sorry, is what I'm trying to say. I want to try more water fasting, would be more correct. I've done I mainly did intermittent fasting. I didn't really do extended sort of water fasting. But there is a clarity that does come around when you kind of, when you're getting into, I guess people would call it ketosis, or, well no, because, so there is a calm that comes when I've done intermittent fasting, after say 16 hours I think it was, or 17 hours, I don't know, I started feeling a bit clearer, I guess. So apart from that, so in my case, I'm preparing to try, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm preparing to try medical cannabis. Not for the, I don't think I'm doing it for the benzo recovery sort of stuff. I feel, like as I said, I feel like that's in the past, but I'm doing it for the underlying issues. So I haven't used any cannabis or anything like that for a number of years, probably 3, 4, at least 4 years, I guess. Yeah, I'd say at least 4 years. Obviously, and I haven't drank for, I haven't been drunk for 3 years, 3.5 years, to 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years, I guess. Kind of longer. I haven't been actually drunk in like 4 years at least, or 3.5 years at least. Yeah, about 3.5 years. Obviously, some people want to drink after, like, some people just want to be able to have a drink after they quit benzos. This is going off the point that I was making, but sorry. I haven't really done it because when I've tried, I feel like it's starting symptoms again, but I think it might be sort of in my head as well, so I'm not too sure. I've had, there was one time where I did have a few beers. That was like 3 years ago though. That was before I relapsed. I have tried like shandies. They're like 1% though, so I don't know whether that's the same. But I'd also like to be able to enjoy occasional drinking as well at some point. I think I would. But yeah, so I went off the point a bit there. But like the point I was making is, some people say that medical cannabis it helps them in benzo withdrawal. Some people say that cannabis is the worst thing you could possibly do, and some people say it helped them. So it's like really confusing. And I think the reason why there's such a crazy sort of divide is that because the product isn't regulated. Like, nobody knows, like a lot of the people would have probably been buying it on the street or whatever. Medical cannabis might be different. I don't know yet. What I do know is that when I had when I met my clinician, the medical cannabis clinician or whatever, they prescribed 2 different strains, one daytime strain and one nighttime strain. The daytime strain is 5% THC and 7% CBD. So I think it's very different from the stuff you get on the street, because the stuff you get on the street would usually be 10 to 20% THC and less than 1% CBD. Sometimes less than 0.1% most of the time actually. So it's very different. In theory, I don't know. I've never tried medical cannabis. I have no idea if it's gonna work. I have no idea if it's a stupid idea. It could very well be an absolutely stupid idea, but I know that when I have tried cannabis in the past, which is, as I say, it's different, but before I came off benzos, I did kind of sometimes get a medicinal effect. In fact, when I was working in the city, I actually worked better when I was medicating with cannabis. I didn't know I was medicating at the time though. So that's kind of why I want to try the medical stuff. It hasn't been medical here for very long. In fact, when I first came off benzos, it wasn't really a thing in this country. So I live in the UK, and it's only pretty new that it's kind of new that medical cannabis has kind of come about. So I might do another video on that. To see if that stuff works. And I hope it does. But yeah, so that's potentially another thing you could try. Also, while I'm on that subject, CBD I've used a few times in just CBD, like legal, non-prescription sort of stuff. A lot of the time in benzo withdrawal, people recommend supplements, and I'll just be honest, like, supplements can't touch benzo withdrawal. Like, benzo withdrawal is like a sledgehammer coming towards you at like 1,000 miles an hour, and a supplement is like having a paper shield. You know, it doesn't do it. The idea is there, the idea is good, but in practicality, it's not really. It doesn't really do much. Some people might get a benefit from some supplements, but again, that kind of applies to CBD as well. Like on its own, the stuff you buy in like a health shop or whatever, you know, these little CBD oil things that are legal and that you don't need a prescription for, they're not really that good. Maybe if you did a lot, then maybe it would be. However, I have had some benefit with CBD flower. It's a very small benefit though, but it was slightly there. I can say it was slightly there. And basically, you can get legal, non-prescription CBD flower, and you can vaporize it. And so for me, that did have a very minor benefit for decreasing intrusive thoughts. I think. Like, I'm pretty sure it did. And maybe a tiny benefit for sleep. But that's just me. Everyone's different, and it might not benefit others, and others might get a slightly bigger benefit. But I think to really get the benefit, I think you need the other elements of the plant, because that legal stuff is usually made from hemp. It's not made from the actual psychoactive version of the plant, so it's much less effective, if at all. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. This will be the last, as I said before, this will be the last time I do a monthly or yearly sort of update on benzo recovery. I feel like they're in the past, and I feel like I don't need to talk about it too much anymore, but I will do some other stuff on it in the future. But anyway, stay safe guys, and good luck on your own journey.